welcome to day 3 of the CruiseView's beta sailing. Once again, I am Picone, and I am coming to you today from the South Pacific Lounge at the aft end of Deck 6 on board the Grandeur of the Seas. This is the only public area of the ship to have been affected during the fires that occurred in May, and it has since received a nice refurb with all new furnishings and a new color scheme throughout the lounge. Today is the second full day of sailing at sea for the Grandeur, and at about 1 a.m. we are currently just off the coast of Miami. We can see the lights off of the starboard side of the ship as we're sailing. And today, being down near Florida, the ship has started to come alive as the sea's been much smoother, the temperatures have been rising, and everybody's been coming out of their cabins to see what's going on. So our official noontime location from the captain today was 28 degrees, 33.1 minutes north by 78 degrees, 39.7 minutes west. And the closest land at the time was Grand Bahamas at 100 nautical miles, which of course we are now much closer to Miami than we were to Grand Bahamas at that point. The weather today had temperatures in the low 80s with an expected high reaching about 82 degrees. It was partly cloudy compared to the nice blue skies we had yesterday, and we had winds at about 15 knots. Today's sunrise was at about 7:09 a.m. with the sunset at 5:45 p.m. In the main dining room, it was another casual night for all the passengers on board to go along with the 50s and 60s theme of the evening. Tonight, the main dining room's feature was truffle, a wild mushroom best found in rural areas of Italy and France. Often requiring highly trained dogs to find, their elusive nature makes them one of the most valuable foods in the world. The chef's inspiration for the evening features an onion focaccia and a seafood salad to start, the Thai-style prawns for the main course, and ends with a coconut parfait for dessert. Today's daily compass summary. We got an early start to activities today with a cake decorating demonstration at 9:30 a.m. On previous sailings, I've seen this referred to as the Chef's Bake a Cake Challenge or simply as a cake baking demonstration. But it always involves the cruise director and sometimes the activities manager along with the chef and a guest working to create and decorate a Black Forest cake. We then had all the usual trivia and other events that occur throughout the day, filling up the entire afternoon until about 2:15 when we had a rather interesting event titled Adult Arts and Crafts with Daryl, with the event known as Ribbons to Roses, which had a few rather interesting words throughout it, and that occurred at 2:15. We then had a full night starting at 4:30 with the Crown and Anchor event for all the Crown and Anchor members on board the ship to welcome them back, followed by dinner, of course, and then the evening show. Tonight we had the All Access Review, the first performance of the Royal Caribbean singers and dancers on board the Grandeur of the Seas for this sailing. And that, of course, features all different hit songs from the 70s, 80s, 90s, and it's really rather interesting, a little different than what we're used to seeing on many of the other Royal Caribbean ships. We then had the 60 seconds or less game show in the South Pacific Lounge, where I'm currently filming from. So that's all the way across the ship, and that occurred at 9:30. So as soon as the All Access Review ended, we had to dart across the ship to that. And once that ended at 10:30, things flowed right back into the Centrum in the center of the ship for the 50s and 60s Sock Hop Centrum Party. This was a new party that I had not seen before. On the Independence, we of course had Rock Britannia, along with the 70s that every ship seems to have, and in May we of course had the 70s, but this is the first time I've seen the 50s and 60s party, which was done in a very similar style to the 70s without the cruise director being involved, though. It was entirely just his staff. Following that, things then shifted back to the Palladium Theater for an 11:15 late night comedy show with Jeff Jenna, who of course was the comedian from the Welcome Aboard show on the first evening. And this is the first time I've seen an adult specific comedy show in probably about 8 years now. It's been several sailings since they have done one, so I'm not sure if this is going to be a new trend for Royal Caribbean, but hopefully it is something they are planning to bring back to more sailings. Then tonight's featured venue tour is going to be the Palladium Theater, the site of that All Access review and the late night comedy today. The main theater, always present and ever evolving. On board the Grandeur, it's known as the Palladium Theater. Located on Deck 5, the venue spans to Deck 6 with its balcony to hold a total of 870 passengers at a time. The venue features the more traditional lounge feel often found on ships of her time, compared to the modern movie theaters of the megaships of today. This results in a more relaxed and roomy environment with theater seating on the lower level, roomy love seats on the sides of the balcony, and seating with tables in the back on both levels. Like all theaters, the venue features a variety of activities, including movies on C-Days, bingo, the Captain's Corner, Love and Marriage game show, and the daily lecture series. As the main show venue, it takes center stage on board each evening with a variety of guest entertainers ranging from singers and comedians to magicians and jugglers, as well as for the ship's pair of signature production shows featuring the Royal Caribbean singers and dancers. And that concludes this third episode of the Cruise View, the second complete sea day, leading into tomorrow, the third and final full day at sea for the Grandeur of the Seas, before arriving in Cozumel and leading into a stretch of 4 port days in this itinerary. So be sure to tune in tomorrow, as we'll have another full day of activities to discuss and another area of the ship to look at, which will be the South Pacific Lounge. Thank you.